Sometimes we get so overburdened by our daily situations, challenges, problems, whatever we may see per day, that we forget about what is positive in our lives. God's goodness, we sometimes just forget about it in the process of our days, the process of our lives, and start maybe even taking God for granted a little bit. If you sometimes feel like that, or you come to a place where I don't know, I have grown very familiar with God, then I hope that this video helps you out. Welcome to By Faith. My name is Maribel Johnson, and today I would like to just speak freely from my heart. Actually, this video was not intended to be one that was just going to be a free fall, if you will, because there were already certain topics lined up. But as I was speaking to the Lord, I just felt led to just speak freely from my heart. So I was just listening to Kirk Franklin's and Richard Smallwood's live version of Don't Cry, and I was just sitting here and pondering upon worship and how we get into the situation in life where we feel like things are so heavy on our hearts that we almost forget that God is even stronger, more powerful, more resilient, more loving than anything that we may encounter, right? So He has the power to help us overcome. And I was thinking about worship in that moment and how we sometimes get into a position of familiarity with God where we start taking Him for granted, right? Because I was thinking about, okay, this song would probably only be sung around Easter. It's just a song about resurrection time, right? Don't cry, dry your eyes, right? Don't weep, He's not asleep. Actually, don't cry, wipe your eyes, it says. And He's not dead, right? So we are speaking here about how Jesus rose from the dead on the third day, and at the time, the people were crying, but the angel of the Lord was speaking to Mary and her companion, saying that you shall not cry. Wipe your eyes. The Lord is not here. He's not dead. He's risen, right? And I was like, okay, there are these beautiful, beautiful worship songs that we sing, and yet we only sing them in certain seasons, as if God was to be placed just in one box for a season. Meaning, okay, Easter, okay, let's sing Don't Cry, because it just fits, But we will not take it into any other time. But to me, it was like doing God a disservice with that, because he superseded that time. It's not just that specific time in our lives, or that specific time of the year, right? That we should worship Him in that manner, or that we should sing these songs, or maybe especially this song, just in that time. I feel like it should be sang throughout the year, and we should be reminded of the power that God has, right? Because the last time I actually intensively sang the song and actually listened to the song, let it work on me, and the Lord was speaking to me through the song, was when my friend passed. One of my close friends in Germany, she passed, and she was my age. And it's sometimes unbelievable when we go through times where people pass, and that was just a few months, some month after my father had passed, and my father had passed maybe just 2 years, 3 years after my mother had passed. So my mom passed in 15, then my father passed in 19, and consecutively my friend passed, and then another friend passed. But This song actually was very prevalent in that time. That song, specifically in the time that she was going through an illness, she was ill, she was in the hospital, and I was praying for her, and I was praying and praying and praying. And that song gave me strength. It was really like, okay, yes, I hear you, God. I hear you, God, right? I hear you, Lord. So it's not the sadness, because I mean, if we hear it, it's a slow song, very, it would make you cry, right? It would make you cry because you would feel like, man, I remember what happened. I remember the pain. I remember the sorrow. I remember the passing in the end. But in my situation, I had to say it gave me power. I remember that I shared it with her twin brother, and I would say it was uplifting. It was uplifting to be able to share this song with her twin brother, who was actually also praying for his sister, obviously, to still make it. And I said before about passing, that is a very painful situation. It's a very painful phase in our lives when loved ones pass away, but that we can, by God's grace, still look at it with the grace of God. When they're saved, they're in heaven. We don't have to cry, right? But God made it possible for us first. Jesus went first. Jesus did this for us. So, to my mind, I did not see simply all the losses that I had endured or that I had to experience, but I saw the power that God has given me throughout the time to come back out of it, right? To come out of the sadness, to come back out of the pain. Not to say that these people are forgotten, obviously not. My mother, my father, my friends, like very dear, loving people, obviously. And but because it was so painful, because it was so close to my heart, because it was so intense, I had to think of all these times when God said, I am here with you. I will never leave you, neither forsake you. So this is a song of empowerment, right? Why do you cry? Remember that I am here. Remember, I'm not in the grave. Remember that these loved ones are in heaven by God's grace and through salvation. Remember that you don't have to go through this pain by yourself, that someone is there with you, and that is God Himself. He did it. So, this is a song of empowerment. This is a message actually of empowerment. And I wished we would treat our God that way, remembering how good He is in all phases of our lives instead of going down this dark pit and almost laying there and staying there. But remembering, even in those moments, and especially in those moments, that He is with us, that He went and died for us and rose on the third day, that He loves us so much that He actually made this step, and that we should be happy about it, that we should glorify His holy name. We should sing these kind of worship songs throughout the year, and not just in those seasons of the year, because that, to me, to be honest, that's religion. To me, that's, I have rules and regulations, and I go according to those. I walk according to those. But my relationship with God is not a religion. It's a lifestyle. It's a culture. So there's kingdom culture and we have secular culture. Kingdom culture is what people probably would consider as being so too deep into God, being submitted actually to God, being submissive to God, being in lordship, living a life that is devoted to God, that is that allows for His lifestyle, or that actually has His lifestyle, His type of lifestyle in their hearts first. And therefore, I feel that we should really make it a regular thing to just worship Him throughout the whole year with all of these beautiful sounds and tunes and songs, right? And not just keep them in boxes of seasons. Okay, now it's Christmas. Now we can't sing these songs. Now it's Easter or Resurrection weekend or Resurrection Sunday. So now we can sing these songs. I do get it that certain songs may just be, well, they have a heavy connotation towards a certain season, such as Christmas, the bells and this and that, whatever, right? It has a heavy connotation towards Christmas. But these other worship songs, these other beautiful tunes, sounds, and songs, I think that they should really be sang to the Lord throughout the whole year. And God should always be remembered and actually always in the forefront of our eyes, of our minds, as the good God that He is, as the powerful God. I'm telling you, this song actually empowered me. It just reminded me of everything that God has gotten me through, everything that He pulled me out of, all the power He gave me when I felt weak, all the power that He gave me when I was sad, all the power that I received from Him when I felt like, man, life is taking me down right now. This is really a very, very, very sad and tough time for me, a struggle almost, right? Or maybe for some even a struggle. Even for me, it was a struggle. When my parents passed, it was a struggle. But the thing is that I was not by myself in that struggle. And I remembered how God was so loving and kind towards me to carry me through this and get me out on the other side. Therefore, when I worship Him with all of my heart, all of my mind, all of my soul, everything that I have, because I look back and I say, God, you have been there every step of my way, every step of my way. And I pray that that's the same for you. I pray that you experience it the same way, maybe even better and stronger. And I hope that we as Christians get to remember to not get too familiar with God, meaning that we start taking Him for granted, that we start feeling like, yeah, I know God is, He can do this, but right now I feel so sorrowful that I can't even think of His goodness. I have to think about my sorrow. It does not take away from the pain that we feel, because we are still humans and we are connected to that flesh that is just out there, but we are still controlled by the Holy Spirit if we let Him. And that should be the prevalent message in our minds first, that we think about God's goodness and don't get to just take Him for granted and just box Him into phases of our lives, or maybe seasons of the year, to just sing His praises, to just sing His glory, to just sing certain worship songs, but that we honor Him throughout every day of our lives, knowing how good He is and recognizing how empowering He is, how much power He gives us, especially when we are weak. So I hope that's blessed you. And yeah, as per usual, we want to remember that everything in the Lord moves by faith. Be blessed.